It was a world completely different from our own, a world where survival was a daily moment-to-moment struggle. No supermarkets, no smartphones, no comfortable homes, just the raw, untamed power of nature. Have you ever wondered what it was really like to be human before history? To be a hunter, a gatherer completely at the mercy of the elements. Today we were exploring the lives of our ancestors during the longest chapter in human history, the Paleolithic era. Get ready for a trip back in time. The Paleolithic or Old Stone Age spans a staggering 2.5 million years, a time so vast it's almost impossible to comprehend. It's not one uniform period, but a series of evolving human species, adapting to drastic climate changes, and a world teeming with dangerous megafauna. Think woolly mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, and giant deer. Just the tip of the iceberg of the iceberg. Challenges early humans faced. This wasn't just a case of survival of the fittest, but the adaptation and resourcefulness that defined our species. They were constantly on the move, not by choice, but by necessity. Their lives were dictated by the seasons, the migration of animals, and the availability of plants. Forget static civilization. This was a world of a world. Constant movement, a nomadic dance with nature. So what was a typical day like for a Paleolithic human? The answer, as you might suspect, was anything but typical. Each day was a quest for sustenance, a challenge to outwit the environment and secure the basic necessities of life. Imagine waking up with the sun, perhaps in a temporary shelter of branches and animal skins, knowing that your survival and that of your group depended on the efforts of the day. This was no solitary existence. These people lived in small, close-knit groups, often extended families who had to work together for their very existence. They had no permanent homes. Instead, following the hunt and the cycles of nature, they carried their lives on their backs. Tools, skins, everything they needed was constantly on the move. Can you imagine the physical stamina required to walk, hunt, and survive in these fraught conditions? This was a life in constant motion. Let's talk about hunting. Not the leisurely kind, but a high-risk endeavor that required skill, patience, and often immense courage. Hunting wasn't just about meat. It was about survival. Paleolithic humans used a variety of tools depending on the prey and the era. Sharpened stones, wooden spears, and later spear throwers for greater power and accuracy. Imagine a group moving silently across the landscape, tracking the scent and signs of their prey. Hunts were not always successful, and failure meant days without food, a reality we can barely imagine. Successful hunts required strategy, knowledge of the animal's behavior, and working together. They did just kill for food. They were also keenly aware of how to best utilize each part of the animal: skins for clothing and shelter, bones for tools and weapons, to waste in this cycle of life. While hunting was vital, it was the gathering of plants, nuts, berries, and roots that probably provided the most consistent source of food for these early humans. This was often the realm of women and children, though everyone in the group contributed. Foraging was not just about gathering plants. It required extensive knowledge of the natural world, understanding the different seasons, which plants were edible and which were poisonous. This knowledge was not written down but passed down orally through generations. Imagine a mother teaching her daughter the secrets of the forest, the ancient wisdom of which plants were nourishing and which were harmful. They were the botanists of old, using only the tools on their bodies and their immense knowledge. Gathering these resources was essential to the survival of the soil group, and it was not without its risks. Where did these nomadic people rest their heads? Not in castles or houses, but in caves, rock shelters, and Simple structures made of branches, animal skins, and stones, these were not permanent homes, just temporary stops on their constant movement. The size of a community was directly linked to the environment and available resources. Too many people in one place could deplete the food supply, leading to starvation. These groups were highly collaborative, relying on each other for every aspect of survival. Imagine them gathered around a fire, not just for warmth, but also for community and social interaction. These were times for storytelling, for passing on tradition and knowledge, and for simply being together in their shared experience. The social bonds forged in these circumstances were essential to their survival. But survival in the Paleolithic was not just about brute strength. It was about ingenuity and innovation. The creation of stone tools was a fundamental step in human development, and their technology evolved throughout the Paleolithic era. From basic cutters to more refined blades and points, imagine the patience and skill required to carefully chip away at a piece of flint, creating a tool that could mean the difference between survival and starvation. And then there was fire, a transformative discovery. Fire provided warmth, protection, cooked food, light for nighttime activities, and a central place for the group to gather. Control over fire meant control over their environment and a giant leap forward. For humanity, it wasn't just about survival. It was also about ingenuity. They learned through trial and error, observing nature and honing their techniques and methods. Well, what about the softer side of life? Beyond the daily grind of survival, there is evidence that Paleolithic humans also explored their creativity and beliefs. Cave paintings, such as those found at Lascaux and Altamira, provide a stunning glimpse into their world, depicting animals, symbols, and perhaps even their own rituals. Imagine the dedication that went into creating these pieces of art deep in caves, with only the light of a fire. What did these images mean to them? Were they religious, magical, or simply artistic expressions? We also found evidence of burials, suggesting belief systems and an understanding of mortality. The care given to the dead shows that even in the harshness of the Paleolithic, they had a concept of more than just physical life. These hints at the emotional and spiritual complexity of our ancestors are a reminder that we were not so different from them. The Paleolithic era eventually gave way to the Neolithic period, the agricultural revolution, and the rise of permanent settlements. As the climate changed and humans learned to cultivate crops and domesticate animals, the nomadic hunter-gatherer life slowly began to disappear. But the Paleolithic period was not just a historical prelude. It shaped our species in profound ways. It was during these millions of years that we developed many of the skills, characteristics, and social bonds that will define us today. The very idea of what it means to be human was shaped by our shared Paleolithic roots. Its echoes are still present in modern society, in our DNA, and in the way we adapt to changing landscapes.